A friend of mine gifted me Cozy Grove for my birthday, which was back in December. So I think I have like over 50 hours in it so far. Um, I've talked about it on a couple of the streams, but it's very like uh, Animal Crossing vibes. I never played Animal Crossing, but I heard that it's kind of similar. It's basically like you're on this little island and you're kind of like they call you a spirit scout, and there's these ghosts on the island, and so your task every day is to kind of like do a couple little quests to like help the ghosts like discover their memories and stuff. Um you can also get like pets and like cook food and catch fish, and just it's very cozy, very like low stakes, like nothing is ever stressful. Like um good times. And then I also actually picked up a, another friend gave me like a Steam gift card for like the holidays. And so I picked up Horizon Zero Dawn, like the first one, since that's on PC now.
Hell yeah.
I know, and well, because we never got to finish that on the channel. We started it.
Don't
Um,
watch it. I was very depressed in that playthrough.
yeah.
You're just gonna be like, Mari, what the fuck's wrong? Just don't watch it.
Um, so the sequel is coming out in February, and we actually just did a Pixel Squirt episode with Horizon Zero Dawn. And so then it's like I was thinking about it, and I was just like, oh, like I bet I could just play through this, before we get to the sequel in February. Um, and yeah, I've been having a good time with it. I wouldn't say I'm like great at it, but I also discovered that I'm much better with keyboard mouse controls with that game than I was with the controller. Um, yeah. So,
If it's not
uh,
as good without the controller, or better without the controller.
I'm better with keyboard and mouse than I
Oh,
am with
with
controller.
maybe because you work with a keyboard and mouse all day, so your hands are more like adjusted to that. Maybe
I
you're
think it's
just
also because like aiming a weapon is way easier with a mouse, because like it's just more precise than using a joystick.
yeah, that makes sense. What was I gonna say? Oh, so you playing with mouse and keyboard, playing Horizon Zero Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
I find
Um,
playing with a mouse and keyboard easier for some games, but when I'm streaming, I need the controller simply because it's less things to worry about, I guess.
yeah. Well, and I think also, uh, and like we have pointed this out also when we've played like other games that like required a keyboard and mouse, it really does make the camera movements like a lot more like whoa, like
Yeah,
unless you're really paying attention to like keeping it smooth,
yeah,
which I think is fine if you're the one who's controlling the camera, because then it's like where it's expected to go, so it's like you don't notice the jerkiness as much. But for somebody who's just watching it, it it looks very like oh, now like camera's over here, now camera's over there, and it's yeah.
let's see. I've been playing Parkitect, which is this older theme park simulator. And, when I download like Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo, I'm like, oh my God, it's like from this place I really like. But they've also gotten EA-ified where they're like, do you want to use literally anything in this menu? You have to buy 8 DLCs. And I'm like, get away from me.
Mm.
And there's just too much fidelity and all that shit. So then instead, I got Parkitect, which is low graphics, but it gets the job done. And there's only like one DLC, and you don't really need it. And it's pretty simple but complex, and I like it a lot. It's really fun. And it has the same vibe as like old roller coaster tycoon games where it's like, yeah, just do it. You got it. Like you have everything you need. Don't worry about it. You can just play the game.
Make a park with roller coasters. You don't have to spend like an extra $60 just to play the game that you already paid $60 for.
Yeah. And that's the thing that really turns me off on sim games. And it's I get why, understand the logic, but it's just frustrating to even try to play at all.
Well, the logic is that they just want to make as much money as possible, so it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, but that's why I like Parkitect and games that are Sims but are from even smaller studios. You like in order to get what you need to have an indie game sometimes. And I've also been playing the free Halo Infinite multiplayer. I have not played actually Halo Infinite, but the multiplayer is free and I find it to be fun. It's easy. I'm really bad at it, but I also just like to run in and win the objective, so I'm telling myself I'm helping my team.
Hmm. Oh, one thing that I did remember, like as I started speaking of that, as I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, is I was like, oh yeah, there's like a pretty like hardy stealth element in the game, which I am also bad at and don't enjoy a whole lot. So like I usually tend to still just like run in there and like slash people with a spear
Well,
instead of
just remember, you don't have to be a girl gamer. You can just be a girl who games. And that's like one of my favorite lines that have come out of the girl gaming community in the last few years, where it just takes the pressure off of having to be like really. I feel like for the longest time, games was a boy hobby. So if you wanted to play games and be social, you had to be amazing. And if you were bad at it, you were just by default a fake gamer. But
yeah.
now people are like, no, you're a gamer. You're just bad at it. And that's okay. You don't have to be good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Man, I just like, I hate the whole conversation around like, well, like you're only a gamer if you play certain types of games and then you have to be good at those games. And then it's like, it just keeps, it's like
No,
more and more like requirements in order to be called a gamer. And it's like, okay.
no. Here's the thing. Those are boys just being like, I need my individual accomplishments to be the most valid. But here, I have something to say. I genuinely think girls should start gatekeeping boys out of games because what are girl games? Girl games are like Until Dawn. That's a cool game. Life is
Hmm.
Strange. I would consider Death Stranding to be in some ways a girl game because people associate stories with girl games. I'm sorry that boys don't understand like depth or the complete ability to be emotionally immersed into a story more efficiently. Like they just don't get it because they're not like really into games. They just want to go on and press buttons and things happen. And personally, I don't think that's what makes you a gamer. I think that's kind of makes you like a casual who wants to be considered a gamer. You and me, Stacy, we're the actual gamers. We
Also,
digest what we play.
any game with romance in it is automatically a girl game.
Yeah.
So that's like pretty much all of them. If there's a love story, if there's a love angle in it, it's a girl game.
If I like it, it belongs to girls and boys can't have it. Um,
Oh, it reminds me of like I saw a tweet the other day. It's like where people will just like leave like Steam reviews, and it's like you read it and you're like, this is like the stupidest thing I've ever read. It was a guy complaining about how I don't know what the game was because they didn't say, but the person was complaining that the player character was a woman and there wasn't an option to make the player character a man. And I found that really interesting because they were like, well, their argument was like, well, guys don't want to play like girl characters, so you should have the option for there to be a guy. And everyone in the comments, of course, was like, what about games like Tomb Raider, which are like hugely successful and has had a woman the whole time? Like that franchise has existed for over 20 years.
men don't mind playing. Straight men don't mind playing as women, but they do mind when the woman they're playing as kisses a man because it makes them feel gay.
Mm.
I'm not joking. That's things that video game producers have said.
I don't even know. I think that the game that they were talking about wasn't even like a story game. It was just that like the player character that they set you as just happened to be a woman. So like I don't know what their gripe was
No, because
with
the
that.
logic is, it's gay to play as a man because you don't want to look at a man's butt.
Yeah.
Duh. They don't get it. Like, I don't know. Men are just, they just get scared.
Let's see what else. Oh, people had asked us to talk about indie games that we're keeping an eye on. So I wanted to talk about Stray. So I don't know
Is that
if
the cat
people.
game?
Yes, it's a cyberpunk cat. It looks so cute. And it also looks like a better cyberpunk game than Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyber. Meow. Boo-doo, boo-doo, boo-doo. Meow, 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 meow. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun.
So this game looks super cute. You basically play as a cat in like this, like, I don't know, all the environments look super cool. There's like robot people. Also, this is from Annapurna Interactive, so I may be able to get us a code for this potentially. Um, and yeah, so like you basically are just like you're separated from your family, I think. And so you're like running around with the robot people, and like at one point there's like a little drone that you find that helps you out. But yeah, it just looks super cute and fun, and um look at him, he's so cute.
He's just doing his thing. Everybody's robots. People are gone. Is he helping him or
Oh,
killing him? We don't know.
I think that like I think that from what I saw, like a lot of the robots are either like nice to you or at least like ambivalent, like they're not trying to like kill you.
Are there any other cats? Oh, it's all robot life, no organic. That's cool.
I think I can't remember whether I don't know whether they said if like this is just like the robot area of the city or whether it's all robots. I don't know.
Hmm.
Look at him. He's so cute.
Meow.
Meow. And then of course another game that I know both of us are looking forward to is Oxenfree 2.
Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it too much because then I get feel weird. Because
Why?
I have a thing where if I'm excited about something, my brain automatically makes me not want to do it, and it's wrong. It's bad.
Mm, mm-hmm.
It's like if I know something, I'm gonna really like it. For some reason, I just avoid it, and I don't know why.
That makes sense.
I hate that it makes sense. I don't want it to make sense. I want to do things that I like without dreading them.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Um,
Mass Effect 3 PTSD. No, I've done that since I was a kid. I remember, like, I was like, Charlie Angels looks like it's going to be really fun and I'd like it. I don't want to watch it. And it was weird. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me.
I think that so if I recall hearing like the psychology behind why people feel that way, it has something to do with if you think something is going to be good, it sometimes is better to leave it in your imagination than to actually experience it and potentially be disappointed.
Mm.
So it's like if you see, you know, like a trailer for a game or a movie and you're like, whoa, that looks so amazing. Like your brain might internalize that as, okay, but I don't want to actually try it because then it might be less than what I'm expecting.
No, I think it's that I genuinely just don't want to make myself happy.
Mm.
I'm not trying to like be like, oh, woe is me. I'm like, wait, I think I just don't want to do things that make me happy for some reason.
Hmm.
Hmm. You guys can be on the stream. Here you go. Now you're here with us.
Um, what else? Oh, okay, so people had also asked us to talk about queer media that so like any like movies, books, games that we've experienced recently. Um,
I've only
someone
been watching horrible nightmare movies, so I don't think you want that from me.
So somebody on Twitter, Shaman Lucario 7, recommended that we have a segment called the Gay Agenda, which is where we just talk about like gay stuff. Um, so I don't have like too much for that, but um two books that I've read recently which were very gay. One of them is One Last Stop, which is by Casey McQuiston. She also wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue. One Last Stop is kind of like, it has like a little bit of a like sci-fi bent to it. Um, it's also extremely gay, very cute. Um, and then also Girls of Paper and Fire, which is like, it's a fantasy book with a young woman set in a world where there's like demons that like embody animals, and like they all kind of like live in a society with like quote unquote regular people, so they have like a caste system where it's like, certain demons are like certain social classes, and then humans are like lower social classes. um and it is very gay and cute, but I will warn you, it um the the girl ends up being a concubine. So
Oh.
there is talk of, it's like, it's like the way that the society is set up. So like, uh it just means that there's discussions of sexual assault. One thing that I did really appreciate about the book is that the book actually had like a content warning at the front of it. So like, I was listening to the audiobook, and the author actually comes in and like tells you like, hey, just so you know, like this book is going to have like X, Y, and Z, blah 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 blah. So that's in there. I didn't think that it was like uh overdone, if that makes sense. Like, I thought that there was enough of it included to like get the point across without, going the David Cage route and like making it like such an overpowering part of the story, if that makes sense.
No.
Like,
Sorry. Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like there's enough of it so it's like, okay, that this happens, but like they don't go into unnecessary detail. You're able
Yeah.
to fill in the blanks yourself.
One book that I know is gay and has is a vampire book. I think it's called Carmilla. Carmilla. Hold on.
Oh
I want
yeah, Carmilla.
Carmilla.
That's an old book.
Yeah, but I wanted to be involved. For real though, I really want to get back into audiobooks and podcasts. And I used to do it all the time, and my brain's like, you used to do that to escape from reality. And I'm like, okay, but brain, you do need to escape from reality right now. It's pretty bad out there. Start escaping. So if
Yeah.
anybody has any books where it's like young woman slash girl gets powers, then all the boys and girls. You know what? I would wish if there was like, I know that if you have a queer book, you have to commit, but like where it was like, I don't know, she dates a few people. It would be fun. I don't know. But like something like the Lunar Chronicles or Rebel of the Sands or the Red Queen, I would really like that, where I'm basically listening to a book where a girl gets superpowers and then everyone's in love with her. I don't care if it's
Oh,
bad. Go
you
ahead.
need to go back to, why don't that's kind of like, like the Hunger Games or like Divergent and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't want the Hunger Games because I hear that doesn't end how I like.
Mm.
But something like that. She gets cool powers. I really like the Lunar Chronicles a lot. So I also like the Bone Doll's Twin, which was about like a magically trans princess. Oh, that's gay. Bone Doll's Twin. It's about a magically trans princess who has to get her
I
kingdom back.
I didn't you read that book like 6 years ago? Because I
No,
feel like,
literally 12 years ago, and it's still one of my favorite books.
okay, because
But
I was
like
gonna say,
books like
I've
that.
heard about it so much it feels like I've read it.
Yeah, no, I love this book. It's so good. I got it literally because I was reading George R. Martin's blog before Game of Thrones came out, like before he was famous. And he was like, I really like this book. It's amazing. All the characters are really fleshed out. I was like, well, if he says it's good, it must be. And I read it and I was like, this is insane. This is awesome. Anyway, yeah.
Um, I another book that has like a queer bent to it that I read recently, probably one of my like maybe my favorite book that I listened to last year, was called Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. The story is that there are these two dads whose sons are were in a relationship, and something happens to them, and the dads have to kind of like get together and like figure out like what happened. um it's it's a really good book, and like the narration is just like absolutely incredible. Like the guy who reads it just has this like really like deep like resonant voice
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like so cool with the character. But the book deals with a lot of themes of racism and homophobia, and like it's just a really well written book. um and like I listened to an interview with the author at one point because I read one of his other books, and he talks about how he likes to take these like complex themes and put them in the context of like a thriller novel, because he's like, not everybody will want to pick up like, a serious like nonfiction book that's like just about like racism or just about homophobia. But if you wrap that in an exciting story that has like action in it, people can engage with those topics who might not otherwise like pick up a book that's like, like 100% about just like the serious topics. And so I thought that was just like a really neat way of looking at it. Like, hey, I want to write about these serious topics, but how can I bring those to an audience that, you know, might not be the type of person to like walk into a bookstore and be like, I want to read about racism today. Um, and he also talked about how his action scenes are extremely well written. Like you can visualize exactly what's happening, or at least I can like visualize what's happening in your head because everything is explained so well. And in the interview he talked about how he actually will like get up and like act out the scenes like he's blocking like a play, which is makes a lot of sense because when you listen to the book, it just like all the descriptions are very 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 good. So I would highly recommend Razor Blade Tears. That book was just really really great. um do you want to talk about some shows and movies?
Yeah.
All right, so I see that you have actually seen one of the movies that I watched
I was
recently.
so excited when I saw that. I was like, she watched it. Finally, we can talk about this. Go ahead.
All right, so I have a friend who's been getting into like watching like just random like I don't want to call them shitty movies because
They
they're a
don't, no,
really
no, it's
fun time.
okay. It's gold. I love this movie. I'm so glad. It's like, I can't believe. Oh my God. I'm so
So
excited.
it's called Tammy and the T-Rex. So the version that we watched, I don't know which version you saw. We got the extreme gore version.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gross.
I want that because the only things I found were like the one that's like on YouTube and stuff.
No, you gotta watch the gore version. It has people like literally like getting stepped on and like their
Exploding.
bodies just, yes, it's like
I love that. And you know what, though? That movie stars two extremely famous people.
I know. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with Tammy and the T-Rex, it is a movie from like I think 1994. It stars Denise Richards and Paul Walker, and it's kind of like it's like this weird mashup. Like it has elements of like a teen movie, but it's also like extremely adult.
Well, the
um
version I saw wasn't quite as adult. I just
okay.
loved it because, like, God, how do you even.
Okay, so this is not like spoiling anything. Basically this mad scientist has created a T-Rex, which
Robot T
uh
Rex.
it's a robot, and they need a human brain to put in it to control it, because right now at first it's controlled by a computer, but he wants to put a human brain in it so that it like I don't know, it's more chaotic, whatever. Anyway, so Denise Richards is like, kind of dating Paul Walker. Anyway, something happens to him and he ends up in the hospital. The doctor decides to put Paul Walker's brain in the T-Rex robot. um I guess since you didn't see the unedited version, like you didn't see the absolutely, did it have like the disgusting scene where they like take his body and like where they do stuff with the brain? It's so gross.
I don't know, but I'm gonna have to watch this. You know how I know it's weird. Extreme gore soothes me. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. There were
Go ahead.
I would definitely highly recommend finding it because
Well, if
like
you all want the comedy version, there's a free version on YouTube that doesn't have all quite as much gore. But if you want Stacy's full throttle, you know what, Stacy? You know what movie I think you would like? Full Throttle.
oh, I
Don't
feel like
look it up. Don't read anything. Just watch it.
it sounds familiar.
Don't. Just watch it tonight.
Um, so as you can imagine, like, and the scenes where like Denise Richards is like acting with the T-Rex robot, it's like that scene where he's trying to like tell her like I am like your boyfriend, but like he can't talk, and like oh my god, I'm just she really, I feel like she does like a pretty great performance in that movie because there's like a couple parts where it's like she has to act like really like sad or upset or like I'm like, okay, and she's acting with like a T-Rex robot. Also, there's one part where you can actually see a person holding up the T-Rex's tail off, like they're supposed to be off camera, but they didn't quite move far enough away.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was called High Tension, not Full Throttle. Yeah,
Oh.
it's High Tension, and it's a French exploitation film.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be traumatized, or you might really like it.
Okay. Um, yeah. So yeah, Tammy and the T-Rex, highly recommend. Uh, what else have you been watching?
I watched some scary movies. The Empty Man. First of all, for all horror movies, please, please, please look up trigger warnings before you watched it, because if I tell you any of the triggers, it's just telling you the story. So the Empty
Yeah.
Man, I thought was gonna just like I saw a clip of it on TikTok where like some Chinese person's like translations like they went into that blah blah, and I was like, oh, this looks like a shitty movie. I'm gonna play it tonight while I'm gaming with my friends, and then we all stopped gaming and just watched the movie because we were like, wait, what? Wait, what is this movie? I thought this movie was just gonna be a teen slasher. What is this? And it's like really well done, really well written, and really well shot. But you can tell when they finally like want to do something more visual, they didn't have the budget for it. So it's one of those movies that's like really, really good and would have been perfect if it had a bigger budget. But during the parts where it had the lower budget, I just went, okay, I'm just going to pretend I'm understanding what they're trying to tell me right now and then get back to the story. But yeah, it starts off as one of those movies where you're like, everyone's like really stupid and like everyone's acting like an idiot because it's a horror movie. And then as it goes on, you're like, wait, tell me more. Like, who? And then I watched this other movie called Honeymoon, and it's about the most insufferable couple I've ever seen in my life. Like, the first 20 minutes of the movie is like, these people are in love. And you're like, God, I hate this.
And you're like, wow, are they? Like
No, they were. And then the wife sleepwalks off into the woods and then comes back and she's like different and she's acting different and there's something wrong. And there's something wrong with her, like something weird is happening. And they can't figure out what's going on and they're alone in the woods and she's being really strange and like something is just off. And that's all I'll say, because it's another movie where you think you know what's going on, then you go, wait, what? No. What? It keeps going? So It's like really, the acting isn't great, but I found the story and the concept to be really interesting, which is why I like indie horror, because they're like, we don't have a lot of money, but we're gonna do something extremely strange. Again,
Yeah.
look up trigger warnings. Like, I say, this is important. If you're somebody who needs trigger warnings and stuff, don't just go in and tell yourself, oh, I need to be tough. I need to face my fears. No, in order to become a more stable and strong person, you need to avoid your triggers to give your body and mind time to heal and process instead of just traumatizing yourself over and over again. So please, 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 before you watch anything, take care of yourself and protect yourself because you deserve it. And look up trigger warnings if you need them.
I feel like sometimes it's like it's not even that you have to avoid them. It's just helpful to know in advance that it's going to happen
Yeah.
too.
Also, thank you for subscribing with Prime Shortzan97. I've been a fan for years now. Y'all are wonderful. I hope good things come to you both this year. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, I've been like reflecting, and I remember in my 20s I kept watching like really disturbing things that would really upset me. And I think that was like some sort of weird form of self-harm, and I just didn't realize I was doing that. So I just wanted to be like, if anyone's
Hmm.
listening and it's like you like scary movies or disturbing movies, yeah, cool, like if that relaxes you. But if you're finding yourself like really upset after and then you keep going back for more, like you're probably just addicted to hurting yourself, which is fine
Hmm.
because I'm telling you I did that. But, you know, I just want other people to be like, oh, Mari made that mistake, I won't. Let's just save one person from
Learn
this.
from Mari's mistakes.
Yeah, I just want to be honest, like, hey, like I made this mistake. It's embarrassing, but I did it, so you don't have to.
Hmm.
It's just, and also like when I also know the impulse where it's like people should be more accommodating on the internet. They're just not. Okay? So just put the phone down and watch a Howl's Moving Castle and relax. Okay? You're good.
Yeah. And like you said, it's like sometimes it's hard to give like content warnings up front without like giving away like the whole plot
Yeah.
of something. So I think it's always helpful to be able to say to people like, "Hey, like if you need them, just like go look for them."
Yeah,
You know.
doesthedogdie.com has a bunch of subcategories. So like you can look up the movie and just look up what your particular trigger is. And I know it sucks because you're like, oh, I'm spoiling a movie for myself. But here's the thing: I want you to know, if you're listening to this, I think you deserve to protect your feelings. I think your feelings are precious and beautiful and deserve to be protected. And I want you to do that for yourself. I'm telling you to.
What else have you been watching?
Okay, so this is like I've been watching Thousand Pound Sisters, and I'm like really invested in these women and their lives. And also, like, I have a really hard time watching like reality TV because I'm really bad. It used to be that I was really bad at watching conflict, but then I watched Jersey Shore and got over it. So then I thought, okay, I hate watching shows that are like, because I always feel like bad for the people in them. And then I feel
Hmm.
bad, like, am I judging these people and all this stuff? And it's like, then I think I'm going to be punished by the universe for being a bad person. So I'm going to watch Thousand Pound Sisters, A, to follow the journey of Amy and Tammy, and B, to be like, it's okay to watch reality TV show and be stupid and just like, you're not going to be punished and you're not a bad person. Like, I can't keep having such high stakes over such stupid things, you know?
Yeah. I think it's also important to remember too that like a lot of it is like scripted and so like and like yes they do like play things up for drama. So it's like
Yeah.
most of the time it's like when you're watching like people like yelling at each other or like being upset, the real situation was probably not actually that confrontational and it was
Yeah. I
played up
just,
for TV.
I like, I don't know. It's like, I started watching and I felt so bad, but then it was like, Amy was like, no, I want to do better for my kid. And she like really does all this stuff that was really embarrassing for her, but she did it anyway because she wanted to be a better person. And I was like, you know what? Like, fuck yeah, Amy. I love that. Because they're like, yeah, we came from like a family of hoarders, and I'm trying to like break that cycle. So she like asks people to help her, and it's like really embarrassing for her, and she does it anyway. And I'm like, that's fucking power, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to say this show is like inspiring anything, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I just thought that was like super cool that she like, I don't know, she's just doing what she needs to do. Tammy, I'm rooting for you. You're in my thoughts and prayers, dude. Like, hope you're
Hmm.
okay. I wish I'd just come over there and give you a video game or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking about you. You're in my prayers, Tammy. I love you so much. But anyway, that's my journey of watching reality TV and training myself to not think that, like, I'm a horrible person for indulging in what everybody else does. And, like, it's normal and it's okay.
Oh, watching reality TV.
Yeah, just watching reality TV and, like, allowing myself. I don't like judging. I feel like I'm a bad person when I judge people, but then I realize that maybe I should judge people a little bit because that's like how people protect themselves. So I'm trying
Hmm.
to do that more too, where I'm like more judgmental. Like I want to judge people more, but like
I
not
think
in,
the
yeah.
I think the only reality TV I've watched is When We Lived Together and you were watching it.
Yeah, when I made you watch I Want to Marry Harry.
Yeah, and I think didn't you also used to watch the Kardashians like way,
No,
way, way back
no.
when?
I never liked
No?
the Kardashians. I
What
just like
what was
looking at memes of them.
I feel like when we lived together the first time, there was some maybe it was
It was
Jersey
Jersey
Shore.
Shore because I would have absolutely massive amounts of anxiety about Jersey Shore because the confrontation would stress me out so much to see. And but like I was like, no, I'm gonna watch this, and then I finally like it helped me with just like. Cause I would be like really stressed out just watching people on TV have confrontation, and I was like, okay, this is a problem. I'm gonna watch Jersey Shore until like I have a little bit more of like a ability to absorb this. Anyway, like
Mhm.
I don't know, it helped me in some ways. So
Mhm.
this is my mental health reality TV journey. Thank you.
Jersey Shore immersion therapy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I like that's what I was trying to do at that time. Like I was watching it and then like freaking out about it and then continue to watch it until like I was like, okay, it's fine to just watch two people fight. Like I don't have to be worried. I don't have to be stressed out.
Oh, it kind of reminds me of how like so sometimes I have a really hard time with like absorbing people's emotions. Like if somebody that I'm close to is like upset, then I start to feel upset and it's like or if they're stressed out, then like I start to feel stressed out. Not like not as like that whole like empath thing, but more just like it's like my brain's way of I don't know, like feeling like agitated if somebody else is like upset around me. It's hard for me to just be like, "Oh, well, like that's what they're doing and I'm just going to be, separate from it." Um it kind of reminds me of that like because it's very similar to the feeling of like, you know, when you see two people like in a confrontation or like yelling at each other, it makes you uncomfortable. Whereas like some people can see that and just like not care. But and you can turn off the show and switch to Ghibli if it gets to be too much. That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Studio Ghibli is a pretty safe one, except like when you're a little kid and you're like, why does that woman have a demon face? But as an adult, that's a soothing place to go. They just know what's up.
Hmm.
I like the early Studio Ghibli movies where it's like, all right, independent woman, boy finds her, and he just goes, dedicated to her for life. Everything.
Hmm.
I'm just here to support her. Like, castle in the sky. She falls out of the sky, and he catches her, and he's like, well, this is my wife now. And he just like anything she wants, he's like, I got it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I want to follow this guy and have some dude just be like, well, I'm responsible for her now. I'll just follow behind her.
Did anybody in the chat have any questions for us for the end of the podcast? I know, so we kind of integrated some of the like a bunch of the topics that people had asked us to talk about. But if you have other questions, oh, people had also suggested potentially doing spoiler casts for some of the games that we've played since the podcast has been on hiatus. So I went back and mostly just looked at the ones that were, like that we might have more to say about, and that weren't too long ago. I know one person had asked for The Last of Us 2, but we played that such a long time ago. I feel like I would have a hard time uh, remembering all the little things about it, if that makes sense. But some of the other games that we've played in the meantime were Life is Strange True Colors, Last Stop, Resident Evil 8, Little Nightmares 2, The Medium, and Tell Me Why. So if we felt like we wanted to do a spoiler cast at some point, that could be cool. Um, what else? I know that people keep asking us if we're going to play Life is Strange Remastered. The answer is yes, definitely. I feel like it'll be really exciting to like experience that again, you know?
Yeah.
Especially since like I know that that's one of the games that a lot of people found us because of. So um and I don't know, there's just like I feel like there's like so many memories of like recording that series, like staying up super late, cuz remember like the episodes would come out like really late at night, and then it's like we were staying up like for 5 hours trying to play through an entire episode in the evening.
Yeah. And it was a 2 hour episode.
It's like a 2 hour, it's supposed to be 2 hours, and we're sitting there playing it for like five. When will you be uploading on YouTube again? It's really hard for me to catch streams as I'm in Scotland and you tend to stream late at night here.
Yeah, I'm saving up the boyfriend thing so that I can just have it all go at once and we can have a backlog. I'm going to release that tomorrow because it's a Friday, and I thought like, okay, that'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we'll have like things rolling. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And to the person who asked that, Molly Boo, um we you didn't miss too much because we didn't really stream in December.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why.
So that's part of why there's like a big gap between videos on the channel. So over the past week, we've pretty much started streaming again. So now we're going to be getting back to more regular uploads when we stream stuff. Because basically, it was like we did the stream on the 20th where we looked at Gerda and like played girl games, and like that was pretty much it. Because I was working like crazy and just losing my mind
Yep,
much. But I am feeling better now, so that's good.
you needed it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the first time chat, Kuromi 1929. Love that you're here. Love to see you.
Is that when you were born?
Yeah. We have like
They'd be like in their 90s.
more than their 90s. No, yeah, you're right.
No,
Yeah,
90s.
90s.
Mm-hmm. Um, Great. Thank you both very much. Hope you're doing much better now. Yeah, I think it's been nice to get back to, you know, being a little bit more consistent. Um, and you know, doing Pixel Squirt episodes. I'm actually recording another podcast with some people this afternoon. So I'll once that is like actually done and posted, I'll let people know where to find it. Um, so yeah. What else are we going to be playing? There's Life is Strange, Horizon Zero Dawn sequel. I don't even know what else is like. I know that people have like mentioned a bunch of other games, but like there's not a whole lot that's actually confirmed for 2022. It's like
I think
mostly
I think my in my opinion and my assumption is all of the much like the issues with delivering shit with what is
yeah,
it, supply lines,
supply
just
chain.
we're finally seeing the impact of not being able to go into an office and work together for games.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can work remotely, but I feel like for a video game, you kind of need to be somewhat together.
Yeah,
And
well, I think that part of the problem also is that depending on like what you're working on in terms of the game, you might not have a home computer that's equipped with the things necessary to actually work on what you need to do.
yeah, so my personal unprofessional opinion is, and I'm sorry for coughing so much. I don't know why I'm coughing so much today. I don't want to think about it. Um, is that it's probably that. And that's okay because you know what? That gives us the opportunity to play like old classics.
Mhm. But yeah, I think it's like, people not being able to go into an office and work together, not having ideal remote work setups. Um, Also, just like, when people have to even just keep like being out of work and isolating too. Because, like, I think another thing that often gets overlooked, like, in terms of remote work is, for someone like me who, doesn't have kids, doesn't really have like remote working is fine for me. Like I can do like when I was working like my day job, like I could do the whole thing remote, no problem. Um, but for people who have like young kids, like them not being in school, and it's like you're trying to like help them do remote learning, and like, uh, it's just a nightmare.
I'm done. I'm done. Every day I wake up and panic about how this is I don't know how to get out of a pandemic, but then I go, it's okay. You're okay.
Oh, yeah. So I think I'm not sure if oh, and I was also going to say I think that I mean this is just a guess. So I don't know this for sure, but I would also think that like since things have been so delayed that maybe more game studios are also just hesitating to like uh like put dates like too far in advance, like of actually being like, okay, yes, we can absolutely make this date work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it would be hard to announce, like, oh, okay, this game is going to come out like 6 months from now, because then it's like once you commit to a date, then it's like if you have to push it back, everybody gets mad. And like, there have been so many delays all over the place that like maybe companies just feel more comfortable not putting like a hard date until they're closer to it, if that makes sense. So I think that there's a lot of games that right now it's like, oh, they're coming out in 2022, but nobody has committed to any dates yet. um Somebody pointed out Hellblade 2. I don't know when that's going to come out. Maybe this year, we'll see. So did anybody else have any other questions that you want us to talk about? Um, did you have any other topics? I think we got through all my podcast topics.
Um, just scrolling through new games. Yeah, we have God of War PC, which everyone says is great. I
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, nothing big.
Yeah,
Warhammer.
and like even if you look at this list, like there's not a whole lot on this list for already being partway into the year. You know what I mean? Like usually when you look at like a list of like games that are coming out, like the whole like right now it has like things listed out for like a few months in advance, but like not the whole year.
Oh, well, here's something I'm interested. Rune Factory 5. Hopefully this is going to be good and not be ruined like the Harvest Moon series. Oh well. Vampire the Masquerade. Swan Song. That's something.
Ah.
Let's see. AI the Somnium Files, which I think I would want to play with you because I think
Mm-hmm.
you'd like it. August Saints Row. Is that like a remake?
I think maybe it's just they're bringing the original to newer consoles or
Well, that's
newer.
something we would
Yeah,
like.
I think so.
Yeah, like the later in the year, there's like one game a month.
But and like look at even like June. June is only like 5 months away, and look at there's 2 games.
And they're not even mainstream games.
Yeah, and like even like May, there's 4.
I am looking forward to where is it? Elden Ring. This is a game that is by the developers of Dark Souls, but it's going to be an MMO. And it's like really horrifying and gross, and that's what I like about it. But I know it's going to be super hard. But that's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to playing that with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'm going to take this as an opportunity to say, Stacy, I'm going to force you to play all my favorite PlayStation 2 games now.
I didn't know
Via,
Elden Ring was an MMO.
I think it is. Let's see. I think it's an MMO.
I
Let's look it up. Elden Ring.
Oh, I mean, so yeah, it's basically like a Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's a Dark Souls
Yeah.
MMO, I think, right?
Um.
Or maybe it's not. Made it with collaboration with fantasy novelist George R. R. Martin? Well, you know what? Maybe we could play this game and people would enjoy watching me cry trying to beat it.
Nah. It just has co-op.
Oh. Okay, I have a plan. You and I play it. I get my friend to carry us through it. It could work.
It says multiplayer, but non-friends are asynchronous.
What does that mean?
Like you're not technically. I don't know.
um,
Like it's not the type of game that I was interested in at all. So
it's like really scary and gross and fun, but also like you're just gonna die 87 times in a row.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like all of like the like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and Elden Ring, they all just look like very generic fantasy to me. Like, which is not to say that they look bad. It just like they've never like piqued my interest. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's more like you should just watch a video if you like it, kind of
yeah.
thing. Final Fantasy Set 14 producers to players. Harsh remarks can impact developers' mental health. I didn't actually read it, but I was like, yeah, you got a point, man. Thanks for saying it.
Yeah.
Says sharp language can cause developers to lose motivation. I like how Japanese developers really just say, like in America, they're like, please, like, blah. They just like, hey, you're hurting my feelings. Please stop. And everyone goes, oh my God. Okay.
I mean, I think that this is a conversation that's been going on for a while. But especially now that like developers are like on Twitter and things like that, and so it's like people can get harassed directly. It's not just like there's a big difference between like somebody who plays games being like, oh, I'm mad at this company, therefore I'm going to complain to the company Twitter, versus like hunting down a developer who worked on the game and harassing them, an individual, on Twitter.
This guy,
Like,
he's being, according to Yoshida, some devs are really impacted by the comments because they feel like they're doing their best for players. Their motivation then decreases. I'm not saying to praise all the developers, as there are also mistakes, but it would be helpful if people thought about the way they convey their feelings. Oh my God, what a sweet man. I'm never saying anything mean again until I get mad.
I think it's also like, you know, they're like individual developers only have so much control over decisions that the company makes, you
Yeah,
know? Like if you're talking to like a junior programmer or whatever, they do not have the latitude over the types of decisions that are, like, so complaining to them is just like, why, you
I
know?
I think also people imagine like a person's like really doing overtime and crunch time and stuff, and you're the essentially in some way a little bit their boss, and so they like try super hard and they come back and they're like, this is fucking stupid and you're an idiot. It's like, I tried. Like I did my best.
You know what
So,
it's like? It's like if you go to Target and you're mad at the price of an item or that an item is out of stock, and so you yell at the cashier. And
or even if it's literally like the person who made it, they're like, I did my best. I wanted to make it good and you're so mean. I'm sad. You
mm,
know? Like you, let's say you made a cake for somebody at the cake counter and you were like, "Oh, it's their birthday. I'm going to try really hard to like make it nice." You give it to them, they're like, "What is this? This is shit." Like it's kind of like that, I guess. I don't know. Depends.
I don't know. I think that developers don't have like that much control over that stuff,
I
you
think it
know?
depends. I mean, he's in charge of it and stuff.
Right, but even if you're in charge of the game, you're still answering to company decisions, stockholders, all that stuff. So
I
it's
think
kind of
both are true. It can be true. Some things are responsible and some things are not. But like let's say you worked really hard on character creator or a character design and everyone hates it. Just saying, putting it out
yeah.
there.
Um I guess like I wasn't really talking about him specifically. I was talking about like when people go hunt down like developers on Twitter, they're usually not going after the person who actually has control over the decisions. They're usually just going after whoever is easiest to find.
Yeah, I
You know?
remember that when people hated decisions that someone made in a video game that we played and then they were mad at us. And I was like,
Oh,
"What?"
yeah. Oh, that reminds me of like when people would get mad like that we made decisions that they wouldn't have made. And it's just kind of like, okay, that's when you go play the game for yourself so that you can make the decisions that you want to make. Also, as a reminder, this is a video game and we're allowed to make like shitty or funny decisions that like we wouldn't make in real life. It's like, it's always very weird to me when people are like, oh my God, like, I can't believe, like, you, the character, would say that, or you would, like, kill this person. Like, that's so horrible. And it's like, this is make believe. I don't know how to tell you that this is make believe, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
Um, for Square Enix right now, I don't think the devs have much say in the company wanting to make NFTs a core part of future games. Yeah.
I don't listen, I have some Bitcoin and stuff, but NFTs, I still don't explain it to me. I don't care. But I'm
It's
pretty sure it's just a picture.
They're stupid.
Okay. Like,
You don't need to know anything about them.
is
It's
it stupid
really
enough to make money? I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore because I think someone's gonna try to explain it, and I'm gonna be like, no, it's dumb.
yeah, I mean, it's essentially just a pyramid scheme. And
Like for real.
the way that people are making money off of it is just like speculative, like,
Oh, you missed out on Bitcoin, so you don't want to miss out on this.
yeah, that type of thing.
Okay, so it's just pictures then.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's actually been a whole conversation sort of about NFTs, but like where people are like, because people keep trying to be like, no, but like they could be used like this, and then like the people who actually know how that would have to work are just like, no, like they cannot be used like that. There was people who were talking about like, so some game companies are trying to make NFTs part of their games, which basically means that you spend money on things that exist in the game universe, and then I don't know, that's supposed to make it cool. Uh Sort of like if, like buying skins or like weapons with like real money. And then like some people were like, "Oh, but like imagine if you could just like take all of your like gaming NFTs and like move them from game to game." And pretty much every developer was just like, "You cannot do that." Like how would you code something so that you can just move it from like Animal Crossing to Doom to Minecraft? You can't just like pick something up and drop it in there, you know?
No,
it
you're
doesn't
right.
it doesn't work like that. Like you can't just like take two completely different game systems that and just like mash them together. It's like, so people who are envisioning that like, oh, like if you bought like a skin in Fortnite, then you could have your character wear it in like Assassin's Creed. And
What?
it's like,
Wait, people,
yeah,
is that what people are saying for real?
yes,
Who?
this was a conversation that was going around. There was the guy from Linkin Park was talking about it. And like, so then of course everybody chimed in basically being like, dude, like that's not how it works. Like that's not how like game development works. Like you can't just like take something from one game and just like stick it into another without like a whole bunch of work to like make them operate correctly.
Yeah, there's a
And
reason why maybe he got confused with amiibos because amiibos do that for all Switch games that are Nintendo licensed.
yeah,
But
well,
it's like, okay, but you can't like someone must have explained it to him in a very stupid way and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay." And they're like, "No, I'm talking about amiibos, not NFTs."
yeah. Um Also one of the big problems with that is that like why would a developer put in all the work to make that happen when they could just sell you their own stuff? It's like, if you think about it, there's
Yeah, it's
no
already owned.
like if you already own something, why would a developer at another company spend their time to make it so that you can put your stuff in the game when they could just sell you another thing for their like
Also, like no one's gonna like no Nintendo's not gonna let you be like, yeah, put the Mario hat on fucking
yes.
Commander
Yeah,
Shepard. No,
exactly. Yeah. It would just take a lot of work. There's pretty much
I think he
and like
just thought NFTs were amiibos.
I think it's just that like NFT bros, it's like the same energy as like Bitcoin where they're like this is like going to change everything, and people are, and then like people who know what they're talking about are kind of like, all right, you know, they're
Some
there's
stuff.
certain there's some stuff that it can do, but I think you're really overestimating what it's capable of. Um Yeah, Norman 1942 says there would have to be something like a metaverse in Ready Player One. Yeah, where it's like, and even if you could do that, if you could like take stuff and like move it from game to game, why would you want to? Because then everything just starts to look, either it starts to look the same because everything has like the same skins, the same weapons, and like people are moving them from game to game, or you're kind of getting rid of the ability for a game to have like a certain aesthetic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um if you can just move things all over the place. Um Imp Emissary says, to be honest, the game companies are just doing this to please investors. I doubt they actually will do much with it to the degree that they're saying, at least. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to get too far into that though, because it's just like this whole thing.
All right. Well, is that the podcast? We just
I think so.
fuck
Yep.
NFTs. I don't know what they are, and I don't understand them. They scare me. Don't get them.
It also just takes a lot of energy, like computing power, to make them. It's like the same thing as Bitcoin, where some people have just been kind of pointing out, like, um, what, like, the environmental impact is kind of not great. Um, so anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed the return of the podcast for the millionth time. If you have additional things that you want us to talk about at any point, feel free to, send one of us a message on Twitter. And we will keep it in mind for the next podcast episode. So, I don't know if we'll end up picking like a consistent time to stream these, but I do kind of like streaming them because then we can like talk to people and